What's going on? This is Brett Snodgrass, and welcome to Freedom Friday. And I'm excited to be with you guys today. On Fridays, we talk about freedom, and I am teaching you how to build financial freedom. If you can reach financial freedom, when you don't have to ask yourself, do you have the money? Do you have the time? It is an amazing feeling, right? It gives you so many different options. And I'm going to be talking about tools that I've used to build myself to financial freedom. Today, we're going to be talking about a controversial topic, and that is the power of leverage. If you watch Dave Ramsey and you follow Dave Ramsey is against borrowing money. He's against leveraging. And I agree a lot with what Dave Ramsey says. We've done Dave Ramsey. We've done the envelope system. We've done the snowball, the baby steps, all that to get ourselves out of debt. Totally agree with all of that. Don't overspend, live way below your means, pay cash for things. I've done a lot of that. I think it's a great strategy. The thing I don't agree with Dave Ramsey is that he tells you not to borrow money, not to leverage for real estate. And whatever you believe, if you have a problem with that and you have a problem with leveraging, then I say maybe don't do it. But this is how I've used leverage to build myself up to financial freedom. So I think that if you do leverage and borrow people's money, that you can get on the fast track and you can get the financial freedom faster. If you don't and you pay cash for everything and you save up money and so you can buy that $100,000 rental property, it's, it's going to take you years, like years, to get to where you want to be. So I've used leverage to do that. Now, how and where do I use leverage, right? So there's a couple of things I want to talk about is how you can borrow people's money. Number one is the traditional way. It's the going into the bank. Uh, and that is basically self-explanatory. You walk into a bank. I prefer using community banks when I borrow money. Community banks want to have a relationship with you. They have a little bit more flexibility on what they're doing, and they want to lend money. A lot of times they keep it in house too. If you go to the larger banks like Chase, Fifth Third Bank, some of the larger ones, they don't have as much flexibility. They have a lot more red tape, rules to follow because they have a lot more people, right? They have a bigger system that they have to follow. They're great for convenience, but for borrowing money, I prefer the community banks. So you can go into a community bank, talk to their lending department, and ask them, hey, I run a real estate business. I like to borrow some money, and they have a lot more flexibility. An example is I'm talking to a community bank right now that I have about a dozen rental properties or so that I'm looking to borrow against. Community banks are great for that. They'll actually do a portfolio loan for you, and they'll put those 12 properties on one loan, which is great because, again, we measure not only just the savings and the money, but the time, the paperwork, the headaches. It's great. So community banks are a great place to borrow money from. Another one is credit cards, right? And I've actually used credit cards to leverage some of the business money to to work in our business. And there's a lot of credit cards out there that are 0% interest for the first year, 18 months. And there's other softwares that you can pay people from the credit cards. You can take cash out on the credit cards. And I've used credit cards to leverage some money. So check out some of the best credit cards um, out there. And also credit cards give you points. And so I take my team on vacation, and a lot of that comes from the credit card points that we use. So we've been able to leverage some of the credit cards with either taking cash out on the credit cards, buying our materials on the credit cards, using the points for other things that we need in the business. The main one that I'm going to talk about is private lenders. If you're not using private lenders in your business, it's just a huge mistake. I got introduced to private lenders about 5 or 6 years ago, and when I say private lenders, these basically are mom and pop investors. They want to make a great return on their money. And some of them are doctors, some of them work at a pharmaceutical company. All walks of life. It doesn't matter, right? It's someone who typically is a little bit older. They've been working a job and they want to invest their money. So I have 10 or 12 private lenders that I work with, and we borrow their money, we leverage their money to invest into our properties, into our assets to help us scale the business faster, so that our business can get bigger, more systems, and I can have more financial freedom. So using private lenders is a great resource. I would highly recommend. So, traditional banks, credit cards, private lenders, great places that you can use to leverage your money and or other people's money. So, a couple things I want to kind of point out when you're looking at leverage is number one, um, don't over leverage. That's huge. I see so many people over leveraging. They're borrowing more money than what the asset is worth. And that's where you get into trouble, because if you have to sell that particular asset, you don't get all your money back to pay off that loan. So don't over leverage yourself. I typically don't even ask for more than what the asset's worth. I typically don't even ask for what the asset's worth. I ask for about 80% of what the asset's worth, so I don't over leverage myself. And then if I have to sell that property, I can definitely, worst case scenario, pay off that loan. Don't gamble with other people's money. Huge one. I've seen people, they're just starting out a wholesale business and they'll borrow $5,000 to throw at direct mail just to see what happens. That's a sure way to get yourself into deep trouble, right? I typically, when I borrow money, I put it against an asset. I don't just gamble with it and just roll the dice and throw it out there and see what happens. You want to attach it to something, put it against an asset. Don't just gamble with someone else's money. What is another one? Oh, I only leverage to invest, right? I don't like a lot of consumer leverage. And that's, you're buying a lot of fancy cars, you're buying a boat, a couple vacation homes. There's a couple of categories that I say it's okay. My primary house is leveraged. And then I'll talk about that in a minute. But don't only borrow money to invest, right? Now let's talk about the primary house. That's just a great one to share. Is I do borrow against my primary house. Now people say, why do you do that? Is because honestly the interest rate's so low, is that I can make more money than what I'm paying. And that's the big thing about leverage, right? And this is what I want to end with. Um, I leverage to invest. I leverage money to make more money. And let's just take an example. If I could borrow $100,000 against my house, right? I could pay off my house, and that's fine. But let's say I could borrow $100,000 against my house at, let's just say, 4% interest. I believe, now I've been experienced, I believe that I can take that $100,000 and I'm paying 4% on. I believe that I can invest that and make more than 4%. I believe that I can do that. And I've done it time and time again. Sometimes I can make 100%. So let's say you took that $100,000 and you invested it time and time again and 10 times over and over again and flipped and wholetailed a bunch of properties. And I took that $100,000, I was paying 4%, so $4,000 in a year. But let's say I made 100% on that money in a year and I made $100,000. We've done that. That's an example of the power of leverage. So I'm going to end with this. If you want to reach financial freedom, I think that leveraging in a correct way is very important to your financial freedom future. Thank you guys so much. This is Brett Snodgrass signing off. See you guys next week. This is Brett Snodgrass back again with another Freedom Friday, and looking forward to seeing you guys today. And I'm gonna try to get some gold nuggets of wisdom today. So this is January. Last week we talked about the power of leveraging other people's money to build your financial freedom. Very, very important topic. Very controversial, by the way. If you're a Dave Ramsey fan, I'm sorry. Which I do love Dave Ramsey, but he doesn't like leverage, doesn't like borrowing other people's money. And I say that be smart about it. Don't do it foolishly. Be smart about leveraging other people's money. I care about other people's money a lot more than my own money. Think about that. You should care about other people's money more than your own money, for sure. They got to get paid back first. Talking to an individual a couple months ago, and his comment, he couldn't pay back some of his investors, some of his lenders. His comment was, well, I needed to pay myself. I needed to feed my family. No, no, it's not it. You pay your investors back first. They get to eat first. They get to feed their families first, right? Big, big thing. So today, I was going to talk about leveraging other people's time. We're going to save that for next week, so stay tuned for that. But today, I'm going to talk about your own money and your money. I'm going to talk about comments that people have made that I don't understand. I don't, I'm not a very smart guy. I don't understand a lot, but these comments I don't really understand, and I hear them a lot in the investor community. Number one, people say, I never use my own money to invest. Okay. And these are very, very successful people, people that make a lot of money. And they say, I never use my own money to invest. That's a comment I don't understand. Because the thing that goes in my mind is, well, what do you use your money for? Like, what do you use it? Do you go out and buy a bunch of crap? You go buy a big boat? Like, what do you use your money for? Right? Like, they borrow other people's money to invest, but they never use their own money. I'm like, what? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Why wouldn't you use your own money to invest? If you have the money, why don't you invest it? Like, you don't have to borrow money to invest. If you have the money, you could use your own money, right? That's a big thing. Um, and I think that it's because they just want to use their own money for their fun, for their crap that they want, for their brand new Tesla. I don't know, for their mansion. Who knows? They want to use their own money for all the fun, but they don't want to invest it. And here's the thing I want to teach you guys today. Every dollar that comes into your account, you can use to pay your bills. But if you want to build financial freedom, you invest that money. You got to invest that money. Quick story, 2007, I was a substitute school teacher. I was making $12,000 to $15,000 a year. My bills, I remember this even to this day. I would add up how much my bills were, how much money I spent were under $2,000 a month. They were around $1,900 a month. That included my house payment. I drove around a $700 car. I think it was a Ford Festiva. To get you a picture of that, it had an 8-ball gear shift. It was awesome. And I bought food, and it added up to be $1,900 a month. That's how much I spent. I started doing real estate, and in 2008, I think we made a $500,000, $500,000 in 1 year. And guess how much my expenses were? $1,900. $1,900, and I was making $500,000 a year, and my bills for that year were $1,900. I didn't raise them. Now, after that, I got a little foolish, bought some stupid stuff, but that year, I invested the money back into the business, and that's how I started to build financial freedom. Every dollar that you make can be worth a lot of dollars. If you make a dollar and then you invested it and it just made 10%, that first year it'd be a dollar 10. But then the next year, 20 years, 30 years down the road, how much is that worth? That's a dollar, right? I don't have the calculator in front of me. I'm not that smart. But that's just a dollar. What if it's $1,000 or $10,000 or 100 or a million? That's how you build financial freedom. One of my goals was when I was 28 years old, I was calculating how much money do I need to have so that I can just invest it at a very conservative rate. I said 10%. I guess I don't know if that's conservative, but I said if I could make 10% of my money, how much money would I need to have in order to live still an amazing life? My goal at that time was $1.8 million. Still remember it. $1.8 million. I was 28 years old, around that, 28, 29 years old. $1.8 million. I said, if I have $1.8 million and I made just 10% on that, how much would that be in a year? 180,000. And I said, I could live a pretty magnificent life on $180,000 a year. I didn't even make $1 million a year, but that was the goal that I had. And I think last year we had that. And I remember that back, 28 years old. I was like, okay, there we go. And that's how you build financial freedom. Every dollar you need to invest. Don't go buy the stupid crap right away. Invest it if you want financial freedom. Now, if you want stupid crap, no freedom, then go buy the stupid crap. But if you want financial freedom, every dollar that you invest, people that say, I don't invest my own money, I say, why? Invest your own money. Make that dollar into $1.10 or $1.20. We're in the wholesale real estate business, baby. You can turn that dollar into $2 or $3 pretty dang fast. Invest your own money into this business. Invest it into yourself. Get better. Don't buy stupid crap. That's how you build financial freedom. Hope you guys enjoyed this today. I didn't step on any toes because sometimes I do that. But I'll see you guys next week on Financial Freedom Friday. And see you guys soon.
Welcome to another episode of this week's Freedom Friday. My name is Brett Snodgrass. Glad to be here with you guys, owner of Simple Wholesaling, and just want to bring value to you guys today. So for January, we've been talking a lot about money. Talked about the power of leveraging other people's money to make more money, to build yourself to financial freedom. We've also talked about how you can earn more money on your own money. And one of the stupidest comments that I've ever heard in my life is people that say, well, I don't ever invest any of my own money. I always use other people's money. And I'm like, well, if you have money, don't you want to make money on it instead of just buying stupid crap? Right. And I was telling Brian, actually, who's the CEO of Simple Wholesaling, about 6 months ago, I said, it is so much easier to make money when you have money. Right. I mean, the capitalism, America is great. If you have money, it's like just invest it and make 10% on your money and you make a lot of money. So anyways, so check that out from next week. Today, we're going to talk about a different type of leverage, and we're going to talk about leveraging other people's time. And I just got some notes here I'm going to check out, but we talked about leveraging other people's money, and that's great, but financial freedom, and you can make a lot of money leveraging other people's money, and you can make more money on your own money if you have money. I said money a lot in that phrase, but here's the thing. I know so many people with a lot of money that have no time. I know a lot of rich people who are miserable, like no time, working 70, 80 hours a week. And that's not freedom. I mean, what would you rather have? Would you rather have $1 million and you're working 80 hours a week, or all the time and make 50,000, you know, have $50,000. I don't know. That's just an example, but and that's different for different people. But in order to reach financial freedom, you got to have both, right? You got to have money. So we talked about money, and you have to have time. And so, just like leveraging other people's money, you take their dollar and can you earn more dollars on their dollars, right? It's the same thing with other people's time. And that's why people start businesses. That's why we hire people, is because we don't have enough time with inside of us. We don't have the capacity to do all of the stuff that needs to be done inside of a business to do it, right? Or we'll go crazy. Our hair will literally catch on fire and we'll run out screaming like a bunch of babies because we're getting ready to die from a heart attack because we're trying to do everything. And that's what I see most entrepreneurs try to do. They try to do everything and they don't leverage other people's time. For the first 6 or 7 years of my business, that's what I did. Everything. Didn't know the power of leveraging other people's money or other people's time. I just said, hey, if I can do it, why don't I do it? I don't know how to hire people. And I have time, so I'm just going to do it. And I didn't learn that. But when I started to hire people and delegate my time, delegate the tasks that I didn't want to do anymore to other people that were better at it, then I learned the power of leveraging other people's time. I'm going to tell you, it's kind of addictive. It's like a drug. Once you start down this road, you start leveraging everything. And that's where I've been at, whether it's in my professional life or personal life. I've like just kind of gotten addicted to leveraging other people to do tasks, right? So let me just tell you. So about 5 years ago, I hired my first employee, and then now we have a team of 6 or 7 people locally. Just hired another one, and then we have some virtual assistants that we decided to delegate these tasks to. And here's the beauty about it all. When you find the right people, they're actually going to do a better job than you. I think that every person that is in our company now, in the Simple Wholesaling company, whatever they're doing, they do better than me. And that's the beauty of it. You actually find people that can do the tasks better than you. So in the wholesaling world, ask yourself, what do you hate doing? Hire that out first, right? What do you absolutely hate doing and hire that out first? Delegate that time to someone else, right? So you can get that time back. And it's about time as a currency, just like money. People measure money all the time. It's a great measuring stick and it's easy to measure, right? It's like, how much money did you make? How much money did you gross? How much money did you net? It's a very easy measuring stick. But a lot of times we don't measure time. And I've learned to do that. Okay, this is going to cost me this much money, right? That's a currency, but it's going to get me back this other currency, and that's time. And I'm going to tell you, the older you get, time becomes a lot more valuable than money. So in the wholesaling world, you can hire out. This is the first thing I hired out was someone to answer the phone for me. It was the acquisitions person. I hated talking to sellers, didn't like talking to them. And so I hired that out, and because that's the first thing that I hated, someone to talk to the sellers for me. Then an acquisitions manager, someone to go out and actually meet the sellers. So all of a sudden, I'm not meeting any sellers anymore. That was the stuff that I didn't enjoy doing. Didn't I enjoy driving around talking to sellers? So that's the first thing I hired out. Then I hired out a dispositions manager, someone that could help sell the properties. I actually kind of enjoy talking to the investors, selling the properties, but after a while, it's a job. It's a lot of work. So I decided I would hire that out to get all of my time back on that. And then I hired out someone to handle all the transactions, right? It's a lot of paperwork. You got purchase agreements, you're going to closings, you're signing documents all the time, you're doing all that stuff. So I hired that out so I could get all of that time back. And again, you get the point. It gets addictive. And now I've hired it all out. Honestly, I still work with the private lenders and some of that stuff in the financial department, but we're actually hiring some of that out in the process of doing that. So if you want to build financial freedom, you definitely got to have these two things, and you got to make the money. It doesn't have to be $1 million a year. It's whatever's good for you. I know financial free guys that make $50,000 a year, right? And they're good with that, but they've hired it all out. Someone else is helping make them that money, and they're good with that, right? So having the money and then having the time, learn how to delegate your time. We're going to dig deeper into that. This is just kind of a surface level, but learning that power of leveraging your money and other people's money and leveraging other people's time to make you more money and more time in the process. This is Financial Freedom Friday, Freedom Friday for short. This is Brett Snodgrass, and we'll see you guys next week. Welcome to another episode of the Freedom Friday. What's up? This is Brett Snodgrass. Welcome to Freedom Friday. And this is where we talk about financial freedom every single Friday. I know that we're talking to a lot of real estate investors and wholesalers out there, and you can use whatever strategy that you're doing to build a financial freedom if you're smart about it. I have, and I just like to share some of my experiences with that. If you heard of our story 7 months ago, I pretty much promoted and named Brian as the CEO of Simple Wholesaling. And now, at least at this point in my life, anything can happen. Life happens, whatever. But I could say that I can do the things that I want to do and not have to ask many times if I have the money or the time, right? And I have a lot less stress in my life, which is really, really cool. So, financial freedom. We've talked about leverage, the power of leverage, and we've talked about leveraging other people's money. So go check out a couple weeks ago, leveraging other people's money, how to do that, where to do that at. We've talked about using your own money and how you should invest it. That I hate the comments that people say, I never invest my own money. I always use other people's money. I think that's stupid, a load of crap. I think that you should invest your own money. Don't buy crap, but invest it. Turn that dollar into $1.10 or $2 or $3 if you want financial freedom, every dollar that you make. Let's break it down. I'm not talking about you have to have $1 million or $100,000 or $50,000. Every dollar you can build and put your way to financial freedom. The problem people don't have financial freedom is because they buy stupid crap all the time, and they live way above whatever they want to do, and they use instant gratification. It doesn't work, right? So delay the gratification and don't buy crap. So use your own money to invest. We've talked about leveraging other people's time, and that's what I've done, because to have financial freedom, you got to have money and you got to have time. And the last one I'm going to talk about, this takes the headaches out and the stress, right? And we're talking about the power of leverage, and I'm going to talk about the power of leveraging other people's experience. So there's a lot of people that have already paved the road for you. You do not have to invent a new path, a new road. Everything's already been done under the sun, and you don't have to figure out something new. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just do what the guys that have already been successful have done and are telling you to do. We have a lot of education out there. We have a lot of resources. This isn't 20 years ago where you got a lot of watch an infomercial and get the Carlton Sheets real estate course at 3 a.m. This isn't like that anymore. There's so much out there, so many resources. We got Google, YouTube, Bigger Pockets, the Simple Wholesaling team that's providing content every single week on the Wholesaling Made Simple Facebook page and our YouTube channel. And there's so much content out there. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. Just do what we tell you to do. And if you want financial freedom, do this. Don't reinvent the wheel. Leverage other people's experience. I am a huge component of this. I don't want to learn from my own mistakes and my own experience. That's inevitable. You're going to learn from your own mistakes and your own experience. But if you can minimize those mistakes by leveraging other people's experiences, you're going to be that farther ahead. You can have financial freedom when you're 90. Or maybe you can have it at 40 or 50 or 60 or 30. You want it faster, right? So you can enjoy the financial freedom. So how you do this is try to minimizing the mistakes by leveraging other people's experiences. I've done this and I still do this all the time. Number one, I get around people that are successful. You're going to be the average of the closest 5 people that you hang out with. So look at your friends, look at the people you're hanging with. Are they successful or are they broke? And do they not have any time and no financial freedom? Hang out with the people that are successful, right? You can do this in many ways. You can come to our meetup. Hopefully, we'll be live again sometime. You can join mastermind groups, which I've done, hanging out with people that are successful. You can, there's a lot of groups out there. There's the new platform, the audio platform called Clubhouse. You can do that. You can hang out with people on this Facebook group. A lot of different ways. But hang out with those people. Hang out with people that you want to be like. Um, I take courses. I educate myself. Right now, I just launched a YouTube channel, and I'm gonna be one. I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe you guys could help me, right? Like I've bought and been part of buying and selling 3,000 houses, but I don't know how to do a YouTube channel. 13-year-old can do better than me. So I have no idea how to do it. So what am I doing? I'm learning about it. I'm educating myself. I'm watching how to do it. I'm maybe hire a consultant or a coach. I don't know. I haven't done that yet, but I don't know. It's just something that I'm kind of interested in and wanting to do. So I'm educating myself. So if you want to be a great wholesaler, great real estate investor, you got to leverage other people's experience, education, get around those peers. You can pay for it, get some coaching, get a mentor. I've had a business coach for the last 4 or 5 years now, and it's just been life changing, right? I don't want to have to learn how to fire somebody or hire somebody. I want someone to help me so I can shorten the curve. If you want to shorten the curve to financial freedom, you got to leverage other people's experiences. There's many, many ways that you can do this. Reading books, listening to podcasts. Um, you can do so many different ways today. Now, here is the thing that I want you to learn, though, because I've seen a lot of people learn. They go to events, they network, but they never really go home and like start to write it down. And how are you going to implement this? Like, how are you really going to execute this? You can only come up with so many ideas. You have to execute them. I'm going to be one to tell you I'm not the best at that. Probably worse than you. So I have all these ideas. They're all on my phone here. I'm jotting them down in my notes, and when I think of an idea, but I have a hard time executing it. So set some time aside to learn, to educate yourself, to be around people, to be around peers, to learn, to read books, listen to podcasts, but set more time. Like, it takes a lot more time to execute something than it does to learn, right? So you got to set down at least like 3, 4 times that amount to figure out your plan of how you're going to execute whatever you just learned. And that's how you get yourself to financial freedom. It's about leveraging other people's experiences, learning, educating yourself, and then executing it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this month. We got some amazing content coming out for you guys. Make sure you check out the Mondays and Tuesdays, Wednesdays. We got Thursdays. We got episodes every single day of the week coming out at you guys. Love hanging out with you guys, talking about financial freedom. This is where I want you guys to get to. It's an amazing thing. It's an amazing feeling to say, hey, I can go on this vacation, and I'm not talking about the $1 million vacation either. I can go out and I'm not thinking about what do I have to do. You have the freedom. It just gives you options. And why people ask me, why do you still do this? It's because I just love doing it. I love creating, and that's ultimately why I do it. I just love creating. I need to create. It's an outlet for me. Some people fish, some people hunt. Some people go kayaking, but I have some outlets, and exercise and creating is definitely an outlet for me. So thank you guys so much. I'll see you next week on Freedom Friday.